A new rumor alleges that Ubisoft has scrapped a post-Civil War Assassin's Creed game following the backlash that their most recent release, Assassin's Creed Shadows, received. Roll this up over at phantompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. This rumor comes from former Kotaku writer Steven Totilo and a number of alleged anonymous employees. Totilo claims the game would be set following the Civil War in the South during the Reconstruction era, sometime between the late 1860s through the 1870s, obviously immediately following the Civil War. I think Reconstruction lasted from 1865 to around 1877, over a decade there. Additionally, he shares that the game would feature a former slave as the main character who moved out west to start a new life. However, he was recruited by the assassins and returns to the South to fight the Ku Klux Klan. As Totilo tells it, Ubisoft employees were informed by management that the game would not move forward because of the online backlash to Assassin's Creed Shadows and its fictionalization of Yasuke as a samurai, and as well as an unstable political climate in the United States. One employee told Totilo this: too political in a country too unstable, to make it short. If this is true, this is contrary to nearly all the public statements that have come out of Ubisoft while promoting Assassin's Creed Shadows. For example, during a BAFTA event in November 2024, about a year ago, Mark Alexis Cote, the head of Assassin's Creed at Ubisoft, said this: in today's shifting cultural landscape, we face an additional and unforeseen challenge as discussions around representation and inclusivity in media have become increasingly prominent. These conversations can influence how our games are perceived, but rather than shy away from those conversations, we should see them as an opportunity. Assassin's Creed has always been about exploring the full spectrum of human history, and by its very nature, that history is diverse. Staying true to history means embracing the richness of human perspectives without compromise. So that doesn't sound like someone who's going to be scrapping this game if it was ever in the Ubisoft pipeline, other than maybe a concept idea, right? That doesn't sound like someone who would be scrapping this type of game. He went on and said, for example, in Assassin's Creed Shadows, we highlight figures both fictional, like Naue, the Japanese woman warrior, and historical, like Yasuke, the African-born samurai. He was not a samurai. There is plenty of debate, and a number of historians, specifically Japanese historians, really don't buy into the idea that he was a samurai. Anyways, while the inclusion of a black samurai in feudal Japan has sparked questions and even controversy, Naue, as a fictional character, has also faced scrutiny for her gender. But just as Yasuke's presence in Japanese history is a fact, so too are the stories of women who defied societal expectations and took up arms in times of conflict. So while both Naue and Yasuke's stories are works of historical fiction, they reflect the collision of different worlds, cultures, and roles, and their inclusion is precisely the kind of narrative that Assassin's Creed seeks to tell, one that reflects the complexity and interconnectedness of our shared history. He went on and said, we've consistently introduced protagonists from diverse racial, ethnic, and gender identities. History is inherently diverse, and so is Assassin's Creed and the stories we tell. I mean, this guy is literally talking about promoting transgenderism through Assassin's Creed. You think this guy is going to be canceling a game set in the Reconstruction era of the South? I mean, I think he would be a proponent of that game. Doesn't seem to be someone who would be canceling. Now, obviously, lots of stuff has been happening at Ubisoft. They spun out their Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six, and Far Cry franchises into a new subsidiary where they're going to be it's being run by different management. I assume Mark Alexis Cote is still part of that, still running Assassin's Creed, but maybe management told him to cool. But this is one of the top guys here at Ubisoft, and obviously now whatever, I can't remember what their new subsidiary is called that they just spun off. It was just like they just announced the name like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. But anyways, concluded saying, so to be clear, our commitment to inclusivity is grounded in historical authenticity and respect for diverse perspectives, not driven by modern agendas. That is absolute BS. They're clearly driven by modern agendas. This is very abundantly clear based on what their VP of Global Diversity and Inclusion, Rasha Siki, has said. This is literally on their website. As part of their diversity, inclusion, and accessibility page, Sika wrote this: for Ubisoft, putting diversity and inclusion at the heart of everything we do means providing an environment where employees can thrive, building open-minded communities where players can connect, and creating games that reflect the diversity of the world we live in. So this is clearly a modern agenda, literally telling us that they put diversity and inclusion at the heart of everything they do. So one of them is lying. One of them is lying. And I think the proof is in the pudding. We've seen what this company has been producing. They're clearly are indeed pushing modern agendas. Sika went on to say, we will not accomplish all these goals overnight. Just as it takes years of iteration to develop a AAA title, we will only become a more diverse and inclusive company by continuously improving, trying new ideas, and learning from the results. It's a long-term commitment, one that we will tackle with the same passion and dedication that we bring to our games. And then even on there's another part of the page where it says this about their content. It says, we will create gaming experiences that push representation forward by embedding diversity and inclusion across our processes, increasing representation in our teams, and offering access to resources that help teams to build more authentic, inclusive, and accessible gaming experiences. That is the definition of a modern agenda right there. It is literally on their website. So this guy is clearly lying right here. But anyways, you can see these are the things that they were saying while they were promoting Assassin's Creed Shadows, which would lead one to question why they would be canceling this game if they were truly committed to this stuff. Now, obviously, some people will be like, well, they aren't really that committed. I beg to differ. I think this company is one that is rabidly committed to this stuff. I mean, you can see it in the games that they have made and the losses that they have sustained. And it wasn't just Assassin's Creed Shadows. Obviously, they had Star Wars Outlaws. They had that Avatar Pandora game. Their Prince of Persia franchise was all about the DEI stuff. Those games were not commercially successful as well. Almost everything they put out last year was a disaster. So they were obviously very committed to this modern agenda, committed to the DEI woke agenda. But anyways, like I said, that wasn't the only thing that he said. He also said similar comments in an interview at XDS24. It was a keynote interview. He said that part of Ubisoft's mission is indoctrinating players into thinking a certain way. He said this. He was questioned, what will players learn about like playing Assassin's Creed, basically. And he said, what I think has driven Yves, which is the CEO of Ubisoft, Yves Guillemot, for 36, 37 years now, is this idea that video games can change the world, and you start changing the world by changing people. And if you give them something to think about, even while they're having fun, right, if they can learn something, then you can like change one person, you can change the world. These people aren't trying to create entertainment. I mean, he's literally telling you that he is trying to corrupt people's minds with this modern DEI woke agenda. That is what he is saying right here. He made similar comments with the New York Times in an interview he gave with them. He says, we want people to be passionate about history. What does that mean? Stay true to well-documented moments and historical figures, but not shying away from having a critical point of view and defying cliches to go beyond what is the accepted truth. What does that mean? Your truth, my truth, that absolute relativism garbage that has infected our society. That's what that means to me, instead of actually looking at what the objective truth is, what is indeed true. So this is not a company, not a leader who would be scrapping this Civil War era Reconstruction game. I just don't see them doing that with him in charge. Maybe he fought against it and he got overruled. That's a possibility. But I think there is a lot more to this story than kind of what we know at this point. And I'm still kind of suspect on the validity of this. Was this game actually in development, or was it kind of a pitch of many pitches that people had for a possible next Assassin's Creed, and they decided to go with a different one rather than pursue this one? I think that's probably more of a possibility than them saying, nah, we're going to basically have this game already in pre-production, getting stuff done, getting concept art created, putting a bunch of money into it, and then deciding to scrap it after Assassin's Creed Shadows and the alleged unstable political climate in the United States. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.